So it's a new year. Baruch Hashem, it's a new year. I had so many things to tell you guys, but it's already over. So one of the things that there is this expression, especially in Hebrew, that we use. We say "La'atchil mi Bereishit," to start. I mean, like start from the beginning. I mean, where else would I start? I start from the middle. You usually start from the beginning, but and always, this is, by the way, look at what they did here. Seems like starting something new, there's excitement about it, right? However, in terms of what we're doing now, in terms of or what we just had experienced, hey Jake, is, and I keep saying, we just finished the Torah, we just finished reading, we finished, started it all over again, right? Or, it doesn't make a difference. If you look at the way the Torah is finished, Am Yisrael is already about to enter, right? They're coming to the promised land with the Yeshua. We finished writing the Sifrei Torah every Shabbat. We did the reading. Shnai Mikra Echad Targum, right, guys? Right? Shnai Mikra Echad Targum. We did all the celebrations of Rosh Hashanah, the Eimat Adin, Yom Kippurim, with the headaches and the starvation, and it's only one day. And then we had Sukkot and so on and so forth. And really the difference between Yom Kippur and Sukkot is great. And in Yom Kippur we really kind of squeeze ourselves and we're dwelling inside. And Sukkot is really coming out, going out to nature and so on and so forth. And then we're coming to what we just celebrated, which was Simchat Torah. We don't have any, but it seems to be any forms of fasting or any other foreign elements or sukkah or abat minim, which is very wonderful. It's basically a simcha pshuta, just rejoicing for the sake of rejoicing without any external things. And by the way, I gotta tell you, going to Yeshiva and being in Yeshiva, you see people dancing. Elecha simchat Torah like simchat Torah in Yeshiva. It's crazy, it's really amazing. In shul, they run around, they do things, some shuls more, some shul less, symbolic. But if you really want to experience Simchat Torah, it's only in Makom Shelomdim Bo Torah, in a place that you learn Torah, and that's going to be Yeshiva, or Bet Midrash, and so on and so forth. But Simchat Torah, that celebration, that Chag that we had is really amazing. And of course, one of the greatest gifts that the Torah gave us is the simcha of dancing and singing. And we said the singing is like tefillah. It's the same thing as tefillah. You see the people are singing in such a. I mean, they're screaming at the top of their lungs, but it comes from inside. It's so wonderful. I don't think there could be anything higher than that. It's like dancing out of joy. There's no other form that we can, in our limited abilities, reach. For myself, it's like dancing is simcha, rikud of simcha. So of course we had and these are the parashiyot they usually miss. We said either it's Zot HaBaracha or Bereishit. We usually miss. So I want to make sure that we kind of touch a little bit about those things somewhat. And the last parasha that we had is with Zot HaBaracha. So of course Moshe stands right before he dies in front of the nation, the whole entire nation, and he gives them with tremendous love. He gives them bracha to every tribe and so on and so forth. And then he gives another bracha for Am Yisrael as a unit. He gives him a bracha itself, and maybe one of the most dramatic moments in Torah, when the Torah writes, "O Moshe ben 120 shana ben moto lo ka'ata eino velo nas lecho." It gives a description, and it always bothered me, like who exactly wrote it. We always say Moshe wrote it, and he cried. It's really, I don't know. It's like a melodrama here. So why is it we always start it again? We just read it, Maybe instead of doing Bereishit, we should go in different cycles, continue with the cycle. Let's go to Yeshua a little bit. Let's read Yeshua. So we're always starting all over again. But of course there's a reason, and there is a reason for that really we could reflect to our lives as well. In order to really reach a final destination, and it's for sure destination, it really means a point that there is no hope of coming out or going back from. It's to our life is death. I mean, how wonderful would it be to go on a journey, To go on a nice motorcycle. Here, go west. It's amazing, right? Nice leather jacket. Harley Davidson. Or Ducati. I said there's a nice Ducati that I really like. Forgot the name of it. Anyway. Superstar? I don't know, forgot it. It's a nice Ducati I like. It will be nice, it will be wonderful. But imagine you drive and it's like 5,000 miles, whatever it is, I don't know, 2,000, whatever. That's how you drive and all of a sudden you go, yalla, you reach that's it, the Pacific. You're going on the beach, you're going to the water, now what? Where are you going? So where we going to go, Jake, from there? We already reached, we already reached where? So it doesn't get more wet. Why are you going to go with a motorcycle on? My Jesus, going with a motorcycle on the water.
Definitely north.
To go north, yeah, I said that. We go north, we go to Oregon, Montana, down like this, then we go down to Utah, coming back to Arizona. There's places to go. But imagine you go and you run, and let's say the earth ended in a cliff, and there's nowhere to go. In order to reach a final destination means death. I mean, it's something that you need to realize. It saddens me very much to see young guys like you. Oh, they want to reach the menucha v'nachala. I'm going to get married. Why do you want to get married? Not for any reason. Maybe one or two reasons, but you want to get married because that's it. I won't have to bother with this anymore. And then I'm going to buy my house, and then I'm done, finished. It's just like cruise control until the end of my life. It's pathetic. That's not life. Comes into I tell you, listen, you got to spin around. Now you got to keep on going. You got to keep on going. You got to go all the time. And death is a place or destination when there is a for sureness. When you're dead, you're dead. You can't be like half dead. Unless you're like one of those guys who never died. Elvis and company. Some rabbis and whatever. But you know what I'm saying. Life, and that's what the Chag of Simchat Torah teaches us, or the fact that we connect the end again with the beginning, teaching us a path that we should take, a constant path that we should take, that you never reach the destiny. How beautiful that is. How beautiful that is. And how many times have I told you, I said life is not about reaching a destination. Life is about enjoying the journey, enjoying the ride. Any of you ever went, maybe you did, yeah, went to maybe Mark, you drove, let's say, in the west, in the southwest, like Arizona, New Mexico, or Wyoming, when you see it's like wide open, and no end to this, and no end to that, and no end here, And you say, Ribono Shel Olam, this thing is huge. It's unbelievable. Why are you rushing to the destination? Let's just drive. Let's just drive. Where do you want to reach? The hotel. Think about all these things that you do. Think about how, for example, how hard you work for your money. You work hard for your money. And then you spend all your money on houses. In other words, you spend your money on sleeping, not on living. What do you do in your house? How many hours a day you've been in your house? That you're awake? You're just spending all these millions of dollars on sleeping. You think it really makes a difference to you if you have, Italian marble on the floor or some tiles you bought from China? You're sleeping. What are you spending all your money on nonsense? Or on fancy cars? Most of you guys don't know how to drive anyway. I'll tell you that for sure. Sitting behind the wheel and just like operating a car doesn't mean you know how to drive it. So why do you need like a V12? They don't make it anymore, but by the way, somebody told me, I heard this. They said, today every car is like a turbocharge. They have a turbo, so when the car has a turbo, it's a sign of God that you don't have enough cylinders in it. What happened to the good old American V8 engine? I got one. But do you understand what I'm saying? Do you know why is that? Because those cars cannot drive the distance. Those cars that you drive are meant to run spinning around the block. They are not cars that were meant, as they said, to put the pedal to the metal. You're spinning around in your cages, going nowhere. And you want to reach the destination. Well, there's no destination. Comes with the right. You want to drink some water?
No, sick.
Sick? Drink water. Go make yourself tea. Do you understand what I'm saying? All you want to do is reach the destination. For what? Comes the Torah, tells you, no. You finish. You're never going to finish. You're never going to finish. And Chazal told us, "En adam yotze min haolam v'chatzit ahavato beyado." A person does not leave this world with half of his desire in his hand. In other words, Chazal is teaching us here that a person could never fulfill in his life all the things that he had planned for himself. By the way, one of the things that you do when you start working, I don't know if you realize this, and if you don't realize it, you will realize it soon. When you were young, you had a lot of dreams and a lot of ambitions and ideas to go and to do, but miraculously enough, the closer you get to work, the less ideas and plans that you have for yourself. Until you reach a point you said, you don't feel like going anywhere, you don't feel like doing anything, you don't feel exploring anything, and you call this life. Are you rushing? I'm telling you, how much is the average wedding today by you guys? $100,000. Get yourself a motorhome. Get yourself a motorhome. You get yourself a motorhome, you don't need to pay taxes. You're thinking wrong. You're not listening to the lessons the Torah is coming to teach you. You just read it year in, year out, without thinking. Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't reach the destination. As great as he was, he wanted to enter the land. He didn't. Somebody else will do it. That makes Moshe Rabbeinu less of a man? He always going to be Moshe Rabbeinu. Ve'lo kam b'Yisrael, there was no another prophet in Israel like Moshe. Lo kam b'Yisrael navi like Moshe. So that doesn't make him less great. How about the 40 years that he was spinning around the desert? It's funny, all the Israelis like to go to Sinai again, they go to Sinai with thousands, We just came out of there, we're going to go back again. It's something that it's fundamental that we need to understand. And the more you work, the less dreams you have. בעבודה לומדים לעבד את החלומות. At work, you learn how to use. You want to be quiet over there? Sound effects. You understand what I'm saying? You're going to work, you lose all your dreams, all your memories, all your ambitions. Nothing. Nothing. I hate the telephones also. Should break the phones. I have this jammer. Smitty once gave me this jammer. Don't bring it here. Anyway, so there is a Hasidic story about the Magid Mimezrich, which was one of the most noticeable Talmidim of the Baal Shem Tov. And when he was 5 years old, they called him Dov. His name was not Magid Mimezrich, right? And there was a fire in his, maybe even Doval they called him, right? And there was a big fire in his house, and his mother was standing at the door, and she was crying, hysterical crying. So he asked her, he says, Mama, why are you crying? He didn't say it to her in English, he said to her in Yiddish, right? So his mother said to him, I don't cry for all the materials, all this, the furniture and the stuff that we had there. The only thing I'm concerned about and I'm crying about is about our Megillat Yuchasin, our lineage document that we had that goes all the way out, all the way back to David HaMelech. So the Magid Mezrich said to her, says, don't worry, mommy, we're going to start the Yichus for me, start the lineage for me. So, what does it tell you? I mean, depends how you look at it. Right? Now, what it tells you is the following. Your story, your legacy, starts from you. You could be the one who could rewrite your family legacy. I mean, most of us don't have families who like conquer countries or did this, That's like regular people who work and try to do their best and so on and so on. But your legacy, your family legacy can start with you. And it could start from each and every one. But listen, then of course if you're going to do something different than your family, right? If you're going to continue doing the same thing that they're doing, you're going to be the same story like anybody else that nobody knows about. No one. And you could start with that legacy can start from everybody. And this is something that we learn from Moshe Rabbeinu. We hand the torch for the next generation. So if you don't come, for example, from a family of great rabbis and great Talmidei Chachamim, okay, so what? That means you have to give up? No. Here's the chance for your family to become a family of Talmidei Chachamim. It starts with you. Get off your, hairy parts and start doing something about it. Don't wait for your son to do it, because your son will do exactly what you do when you do whatever the same thing as your father did and your son. Nothing. It starts with you. And that's why the legacy of Moshe Rabbeinu ends in the desert. And it's time for Yoshua to come in, and Yoshua hands it down, and we're in Masechet Avot. Moshe gave it to Aaron, gave it to this, gave it to Yoshua, Zkenim, and so on and so forth. An unbroken chain of 120 something generation, all the way from Moshe Rabbeinu until the rabbis of today. An unbroken chain. And each and every one of us could become another link in this chain. And you gotta need to be able, look at here. Right, everybody could become a link in this chain, and even if you are not going to be able to fulfill, again, all your aspirations and so on and so forth, you'll be able to bring it for the next generation that could have a better start than you had. And then you need to understand that. And hopefully they'll be able to pass it on to their children and so on and so forth. A person, you need to understand that a person needs to be in continuous and unstoppable motion all the time. Tnuah matmedet, it's called in Hebrew. You need to move on. Don't stay in one place. Don't stay in one place. You know, I keep on thinking, it keep on bothering me, this thought, and I think we spoke about it before. So we have a little bit more, but yes, who cares? You know, everything that you do takes time. You want to close a button? Close it like this. Close after you find. Took already 3 seconds. Everything takes time. You want to close a button. You want to open the button. You want to get yourself something to eat. You know, you prepare it. Everything that you do takes time. Everything you do takes time. So therefore, there's not really a lot of time to waste. And I keep on thinking about it. I know we spoke about it one time, a few times, but especially now that we are fresh from the end of the Torah to the beginning of the Torah, realizing the cycle and the time that it took to finish this. We don't have a lot of time to accomplish what we really need to accomplish. And that is, by the way, start living. I mean, I don't know about you guys. How wonderful would it be to go to like a Greek island, you know, for a while, just experience life. By the way, that's why a lot of Israelis go to Sinai, because in Sinai there's like emptiness, and you could do things and like forget about the world out there. Now, maybe you have a couple of ices over there, you know, but you know that sensation of stripping yourself, literally, but you know also like time-wise from time and society and the struggles and the politics and this nomination and that nomination and so on and so forth. That's why they go there. I mean, I don't think you ever experience something like this. Just like, I mean, you always, when you go on trips, you always, okay, what's the next activity? Huh? What are you going to do today? How about we're going to do nothing today? How about we're going to go to the top of the mountain there or some vista and sit there and just like contemplate on nothing? Wow, what's wrong with that? We'll go to like a Greek island, sit in a villa over there somewhere. It costs like $20 a day. Airbnb, you go over there and look at this. You know, get up in the morning, have some fish, you know, send some arak in the morning. You gotta straighten up your day a little bit. Watch the waves, you know, take a little nap, you know. What do you think the Greeks are such big philosophers, you know? What do you think? I mean, they were basically like, you know, like in England, I don't know what they were doing, they were looking for coal all their lives. You know, the Greeks are philosophers. They have a different outlook in life. And look at this from the beginning of Greece, I think, wow, was it like, I don't know, whatever it was, you know, no, the state, the modern state of Greece, you know, they were living on lows. There were people who would not pay taxes there. They were living on lows. That tranquilo, everything is good. Yeah, you know. You need to have a deeper look at the way you live your life. I should not say that, actually. I'm going to correct myself. You should really take a very close look at how you waste your life. You're wasting your life. And this is you know, a person can say, but listen, you know, we just finished the Torah. I'm going to do this again. I just finished the Shas. I did the Daf Yomi. I was a good boy. For 7 years, I came every single day. A good boy. Now I'm going to start again. Depressing. Let's start it over and over and over and over and over and over. And I'm going to tell you, you have a problem, right? You know what the problem is? The problem is your finger. This is not over and over and over, and I'm going to tell you why. To start from the beginning doesn't mean to start like this. Start from the beginning is taking this and tilting it that way and making a spiral up, right? Hey, I'm this at this level, and I'm turning. And every year I'm going up a little higher. But here again, I'm in Bereishit. And then again, spiraling up, spiraling up, spiraling up. Every year you should find new understanding, different outlook in the Torah, to understand what life is all about. What does HaKadosh Baruch Hu want from me? Why did He give me this life? Am I a beast? And we're going to, Be'ezrat Hashem, get to it at the end. I'll tell you, if we have some time, what the Kli Yakar says about that. To have the spiral movement, spiraling up, that's the concept. That's what we need to do. Not again and again and again and again. Up and up and up and up and up and up. So when you do a chazara or a review or something that you learn, you're actually learning it deeper. Not just like, grinding water, as we say. That's what we need. That's what we're trying to learn from the cycles. I mean, how many times, for crying out loud, you could okay, we read already, God told Abraham, slaughter your son. Okay, I'll slaughter your son. Imagine it's a movie like this, Hey, God, slaughter your son. Okay, fine. Listen, you told me this already. I've been doing this already for 3,000 years, it's enough already, I know you're going to give me another ram. This is not the story, right? Remind me about the story about somebody told me about this old lady. She used to read the Tze'ena Arena, it's a midrash that was made for women. And every time she used to come for Yosef, the story of Yosef, she used to cry. One year she said, enough! What is this Yosef that doesn't learn? Enough with this, look what you're doing! But this is the wrong, so therefore, we have we're looking at things two-dimensional. We need to increase the depth of our life, and we have no depth in our lives, and that's already the problem. And we need to understand that we need to start anew all the time, every single day, every single morning, to start with koach, with strength, because this day is gone forever. It comes to me all the time, again, when we daven in tefillah, right? Let's say, for example, I usually tefillat mincha of either the end of the year or the beginning of the end of the Chag. Imagine tefillat mincha, the last tefillah before Erev Rosh Hashanah. Say, it's the last tefillah of the year. I need to really try to finish it appropriately. At least let me have somewhat of a kavanah in this tefillah, or last tefillah of a Chag. It's the last time I'm going to say in my life this year. This year is going to finish. We just finished the year. We just finished Rosh Hashanah. What year are we in? Tavshin? Ayin Tet. Right? Tishat. Tishat, lish'ot means to run. Like a horse. To go, to charge. So you know that the year Tavshin Ayin Tet, Tefillah of Rosh Hashanah, is never going to come ever again unless you're going to call it in another 1,000 years from now. Instead of being Hey Tavshin Ayin Tet, it's going to be Vav Tavshin Ayin Tet. In other words, it's never going to come. Every moment in your life is unique. Every day in your life is a day that should not be wasted. Wasted, and you waste your days. By the way, I like your beard. Yes. Yeah, I like it. Nice and manly, I like it. Wait, talking about manly beard. Where's our Viking here? Where is he? Pidyon Ben, why he had a son? Who knows with him, huh? All right. So, and to understand that if we are not going to be able to finish, so then maybe there are going to be others who are going to be able to come in to take it. But it's not our job to finish. Lo alecha melacha ligmor. We need to start. We need to create the moment, the momentum, the movement. We need to do it. So we had that Simchat Torah and so on and so forth. And of course, right, everybody had a sukkah, everybody had a good nice sukkah, right? You had a nice sukkah. Zaman, you had a nice sukkah, buddy. Yeah? You made the Ushpizin every day, right? We made the Ushpizin. Avraham, Ushpizah, everybody, Ushpizim, not Ushpizim, big Ushpizim. Some of us who were very lucky also had maybe some real human Ushpizin. I'm sure you guys invited some people to your sukkah. It was very important to invite people to the sukkah. By the way, Chachamim don't talk nicely about a person who doesn't invite people to the sukkah. But I can tell you one thing for sure: you did not invite to the sukkah. Shechina. Today I'm such mekubalim. Of course we invited the Shechina, everybody, No. We're not talking about this. No. We forgot to invite happiness, Osher, as an ushpisin for our sukkah. Happiness is something that we all want. Reminds me of a song of the Beatles. Happiness is a warm gun. You know this song? From the White Album? Oh, Abbey Road. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Where is it from? I don't like the Beatles anyway. So if you ask people what's really important to you, some people will tell you happiness. Osher va'osher. First osher be'alef. Right? Happiness. And most people will, when you ask them what is happiness and how do you come to happiness, usually they will give you a very complex answer and so on and so forth. By the way, if it's so complex to you and you can't explain it, most likely you don't know what you're saying. Most likely you don't know what you're saying. It's like you're trying to explain somebody a word and he tells you, using the same word, the meaning of it, it doesn't work. Of course, in the issue of happiness, philosophers, for thousands of years, talking about philosophers, everybody would contemplate what happiness is really is, the theologists and so on and so forth. And even today, believe me, in our recent days, even scientists are dealing with happiness, with different chemicals in the brains and so on and so forth. It's a very important topic over there. A lot of people are depressed because they are unhappy. A lot of people are unhappy because they don't know what happiness is. So, with your permission, I want to give you a formula for happiness. Anybody is ready for the formula of happiness?
Drugs?
Anybody know? Drugs? Good thing you didn't say anything about girls, because I'll tell you don't know nothing about both of them. Drugs. I'm going to give you... You got to be a buffoon to say drugs in front of me. I mean, buffoon with a capital B. A buffoon with a... whatever, like a baboon, Sam, shut up. Let me give you a formula for happiness. A formula for happiness is a little bit of pleasure and a lot of meaning. A little bit of pleasure and a lot of meaning. Now, you have to have some pleasure. You have to have some pleasure. And pleasure does not mean like massage of with a three-legged Thai girl. I'm not. We need to understand that the pleasure must be there. However, the amount of pleasure that is, I'm reformed today, right? You missed me. Didn't you miss me? But the amount of pleasure that you need is much smaller than you really think that you need. Much smaller. You don't need so much pleasure. For example, let's say you go to a fancy restaurant. They don't have restaurants like this, kosher restaurants, like La Bernadette or like forcing like Michelin stars. Don't have kosher. But let's say you go to a restaurant like this, you gotta wait 6 months for seating. You gotta spend like $500. You go to what's his name, Gyro over there in the Dream Sushi. I dreams about other things, but he dreams sushi. Okay, that's fine. It's a fortune. And he's going to tell you how to eat it, and he's going to, there's no way, he's going to tell you what to eat, how to eat, and I'll pay for this. However, let me give you the following. Right? Sitting on an island, watching the sunset, a little breeze comes from the ocean, by the shore, by the ocean, the breeze coming from the ocean. the simplest grilled fish, lemon on top, good white wine and cold beer. How about that? Yeah. Oy. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? You don't need all the fancy things. By the way, and that goes true to everything else. When you need a lot of production, that means that there's something, in the core is missing. When you go to a wedding that they spill $150,000 on a wedding, well, that something is missing there. There's not going to be simcha there. There's going to be a lot of show. Everybody's going to be busy with the show, but not going to be busy with the simcha. And so it's to your house, and to your car, and to everything else that you do in your life. You need a little bit of pleasure, but a lot of meaning. Now, of course, what is the pleasure? What is pleasure? Pleasure is when something is good for us, or it's pleasant to us. And, however, if you are going to try to max out and to cash in into all your pleasure, that's that's not going to happen. Because and all the faiths in the world and all philosophers in the world and everybody will agree on one thing, that the way to happiness is not to have a lot of pleasure. However, to have some, but not to have a lot of pleasure, because it's not necessarily that if you are going to have a lot of pleasure, you're going to be happy. That's for sure. And of course, we're reading in Sukkot. By the way, there was many kihilot of Sfaradim that they actually read Kohelet in Sukkot, and I love Kohelet, and I daven with Ashkenazim, and we read Kohelet, and you see, the guy had everything, whatever you wanted, he had. Women, he had more than you can dream of. Money, more than you'll ever have. Power, he had everything. But Kohelet wasn't happy. He wasn't a happy camper. You look at it, it's kind of depressing sometimes. You look at it, but it's he wasn't happy, and he tells you. He tells you this, and so on and so forth. Because you have to understand that the systems that are in place in our head, that are in charge of pleasure, those pleasure centers in our head, could not be, agitated, aggravated for a long period of time. They get overwhelmed, they get worn out, and then you become weird. You know what I mean? So to have too much pleasure is absolutely bad for you. But listen, one of the things you mentioned, drugs. One of the things the drugs are bad for you is because of that. It gives you a temporary pleasure, but then after that, it's a highway to hell. And I don't care if you're doing heroin, LSD, popping Molly, guppies, taking pot, or even alcohol. It's not good. And the stronger the drug, the more pleasure that you get on the first shot, and then you come out and finish, you're hooked. And not on phonics, you're hooked on some heavy stuff. And you become a very miserable person. Becoming a very miserable person. A little bit of pleasure and a lot of meaning. So, and I'll give you an example. I told you this many times. Imagine you're hungry, or something like, somebody gives you a wonderful Napoleon cake or some fancy cake, or an awesome steak. What's the best part of that experience? It's the first bite. The first bite. The second bite is just chewing meat. The first bite, when you put it in your mouth and everything, it's like, and your receptors in your head are going like, Or, for example, when you drink a whiskey, a good whiskey, or some drink like this, you smell it, all the senses, and you taste it, and the second time it can generate the sense. You need to clean your palate, you need to give some time off, and then you can go back to it again. And it's true to everything. As they say, the first cut is the deepest. After that, you're just chewing meat. It doesn't make a difference if it's like Angus meat that somebody rubbed with beer and let it massaged it with played Johann Sebastian Bach. It's the meat is meat. The first bite is like heaven, but the second bite you're just chewing on some dead animal. So, or Kobe meat, whatever you call this, Kobe, Kobe's a basketball player, isn't it? Anyway, so, but this is good. So the first time really creates this like heaven. The second, the third, and so on and so forth. It's already like it's just mechanical, your brain. So think about any kind of pleasure that you have like that. So, if you think therefore. If we say that the path to happiness is not necessarily pleasure, so therefore we're talking about food, so what is the main course? The main course will be meaning. And how many times have I told you when we were talking about picking up a job or picking up an occupation, can you tell me something that you get up in the morning for? Something you said every morning, wow, man, I'm happy for another day. Let's get up, let's do it, another day. 40 years. If you don't have it, you're in the wrong business. Every day you'll say, oh man, I can't wait for vacation. If you do that, you're in the wrong business. You picked up wrong. If you get up with excitement like this every single day.
Very wrong.
Yeah. Better believe it, buddy boy. Very wrong. Can I get some drinking? Very wrong, yeah. I put this, yalla. So, something that will give, as they say, when you think about this, your eyes are sparkling, right? Like gives you light in your eyes. This is something that you're going to be good at because you're going to be willing to put an effort, to achieve. And for most of us, really, the meaning is really to do good to many people or to people that we love or people that we care about. For example, if you're talking about parenting, of course there are some, bad parents and so on and so forth. But as a parent, you have joy and you have worries and so on and so forth. However, if you have a grandchild, I can tell you that it's even greater. But this is the pleasure when you care for them. Your baby is crying, and how do you develop your kisher to your child? When the baby is crying and you're holding it, the baby is calming down, and you feel that you just helped this kid. This is how you develop your connection, and that gives you a meaning to get up in the morning to do your lousy jobs that you do, so you can provide for your kids. But the problem is when you don't see any meaning in raising the kid, so the kid becomes really a burden on you. That's why a child must be an act of love. Or never use the word an accident when it comes to a child. I know people who refer to the kids as accident, and they really don't like them. So one of the things that will give you the most meaning is really care for other people. Now you're going to look around you and say, how many people do you really care about or care for? And not just like, oh yeah, I care about him so much, I WhatsApp him. How you doing? With a smiley face. That doesn't do it. Caring in terms of like willing to go out of your way, willing to do something for that person. And that tells you how much meaning you have in your life. And what kind of life you're living. It could be people even you don't know. Let's say, for example, you're big. I knew a guy in my neighborhood. He was really like, anything he did, it wasn't such a big successful person. But he started volunteering here, started volunteering there, started volunteering here, started volunteering there. He became very active about this. One thing led to the other. Baruch Hashem is very successful nowadays. Because he was able to step out of it. What are you willing to give from yourself? And you should know that usually poor people, or people that don't have a lot, are people who are willing to give more than those who have a lot. Because they have more meaning. So the more you have, most likely, the less meaning you have. Something has to give. You know, it's like in physics, right? P1 equals P2, right? This goes up, this goes down. It doesn't go like this. This goes down and this goes, like this. There's going to be pressure. The vessel is going to explode. So you want a lot of materialistic things, very little meaning in your life. But that's not a way to live life. And as we said, this is not the way to live life. If we said the main ingredient is meaning in your life, I'm talking about maybe 95, 98% meaning to 2% pleasure. If you think about your days, how many seconds of pleasure you had in your day to make your day a great day? You say it wasn't so much. For example, let's go back to a steak. How long does it take you between the first bite to the second bite? 30 seconds. You cut it, you put it in your mouth, chew it, right? Then you say, oh man, the steak I ate today. So you don't need a lot of pleasure, but you have to have a lot of meaning. And that is something that we must remember. Now remember how we started, look where we progressed, and now we're going to maybe try to finish. So he says in Parashat Bereishit, Vayetzer Hashem Elokim et ha'adam, and God created man, afar min ha'adama, dirt from the earth, Vayipach be'apav nishmat chayim, veyehi ha'adam lenefesh chaya. And he blew nishmat chayim, let's see exactly what it is, an ability to breathe. Vayihi Adam lenefesh chaya. The Adam became nefesh chaya, nishmat chayim venefesh chaya. So when we look at Rashi and nefesh chaya, Rashi says av be'ema v'chaya nikeru nefesh chaya. Even a beast and an animal are called a living entity. Achzu shel Adam chaya shebekulam. But that spirit inside of man is greater than all. In other words, it's the most, lively of all. However, there is a difference, right? Because the difference is because man is more lively and so on and so forth. So the nefesh of Adam, we learn from here, has an extra component that a beast doesn't have, and that's called de'ah v'dibur. The ability to think and the ability to speak. Of course, Chachamim from that too can learn so many other things regarding a person to speak and so on and so forth. But the ability to think. See, animals don't think. I don't care what David Attenborough, from England, he was
Planet Earth.
Yeah, Planet Earth or what. Animals don't think. Animal cannot think what he's going to do, 20 years from now. An animal cannot think. And a lion in Swaziland is not going to think, oh, there's a lion in Berlin. I'm going to show this guy. I'm going to drive him. The lion. Humans' ability to think and then to communicate. Regardless of what some lunatic says about chimpanzees and baboons and gorillas, that's for stories you tell your kids and for your retarded kids in like second grade. That's not something that a Bartan will think. I don't know. They have something to prove. I gotta tell you, the danger of talking about evolution and so on and so forth is very great, because then it allows us as humans to say, well, there are some people who are subspecies. They're still in the age of development. They haven't fully developed from ape to humans. And then, of course, we become Nazis and we become horrible people like this. That's not true. A human can speak. I don't care if he from Senegal. People from Senegal, how they talk. They talk like machine, like machine guns. Like it's crazy, or some professor in Cambridge, all humans communicate. And all humans can plot and plan and think, and animals can't. So I don't care what you're coming up with. 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Or maybe a little later. I don't know. A little later. So the Kli Yakar really rejects this pirush of Rashi, and he writes, "U'pirusho dachu ki lo piresh b'mikra chaya miklum." He didn't really explain what chaya is all about. In the pasuk, both man and beast is referred to as nefesh chaya, and commentators really separates between nefesh chaya this one to nefesh chaya this one. However, if you're going to compare this one, you have nothing to rely on. What do you exactly, from the pshat of the pasuk, how does it differentiate this nefesh chaya from that nefesh chaya, right? You don't tell me, So, and this is according to the Kli Yakar. And later on, the Kli Yakar also brings the Perush of Rabbi Yitzchak Arama, Baal Akedat Yitzchak, and over there he explained the Nishmat Chaim. The word, remember, we says Nishmat Chaim. This is the Ruach Achiyuni Hanimtza Ba'adam Be'etzem V'Rishona. That is the human intellect that is there from the very beginning in mankind. In other words, there's no such thing as what's his name, Darwin's theories here, right? It's from the very beginning. And he writes, "Kshitvasef bo hashlemut hasheni v'hashlishi al derech nefesh ruach u'neshama," and it's really going to reach up the level, as he says, nishmat chaim, ruach chaim, and nefesh chaya. So then he has the stages that he developed, and so on and so forth. So nishmat chaim that Hakadosh Baruch Hu gave in the Adam is a neshima shava le'adam u'le'ba'alei chaim, and that is the nefesh chaya, and that is, there is a state of completeness when a person is shalem. However, the person reaches that level when he was able to really, as we said before, combine the first stage, second stage, and then reach the third stage. But how exactly we get this? How exactly we get to the stages? So, and if you want to look at the Akedat Yitzchak in Sha'ar Vav, and he writes, "Ma she'asa el it'ala bo hu efsharut torah chayut v'hu miyuchad lo levad." The ability of a person to have an imagination, to intellect, to think like this. And omnam ha'adam hu ma sheyasimo before ad sheyitlabesh bo v'yituach mimeno. A person can think about something and then he could actually execute it, and that's something for man himself. And that's why it says, "V'yeh adam lenefesh chaya hi pe'ula she'adam oseh." It's an action that man does. In other words, he utilizes the potential that God gave him to take a thought and to execute it into an action. And that's almost like what we said, Ishmat Ruach. However, after the Kli Yakar really dismissed both Rashi and the Baal Akedah, he brings a different perush. Vayipach be'apav nishmat chaim ve'yeh adam lenefesh chaya. The Kli Yakar says the opposite from Rashi and Baal Akedah. According to him, Vayipach be'apav nishmat chaim is a state in which corresponds for the level of perfection of man. Vayehi adam lenefesh chaya refers to the first stage, which is what we call stam nefesh chaya, just like another animal. And we saw before what the Kli Yakar says about Rashi, that it needs to be equal. Nefesh chaya here, nefesh chaya there, right? It has to be the same thing. That's a beast, and that's a beast, right? And regarding Nishmat Chaim, the Kli Yakar gives support to his opinion by saying that Hakadosh Baruch Hu is the one who blew the nefesh chaim in the nostrils of man, and that is called what we call chelek Eloah mimal. It doesn't come to any other animal or any other creature that God blew a spirit or something into the nostril. Only exists a human, and that is the ability of man to be almost like God, to have a thought and to execute it. right? Because we says, Allah b'da'ato shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu livrot ha'olam, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu had in mind to create the world. He looked at the Torah and then he created the world. Huh?
Can I ask a question?
למה לא? מתי אני
So if
אשתה?
you blew it into the man, is it possible that the woman doesn't have it or it's on a lower
No.
stage?
No, woman has it. Woman has it. זכר ונקבה ברא אותם, that's right. And not only that, when he took it out the second time, when he took it out the rib of man, it already had it in it. It's inside, like implanted in his DNA, so-called. Women has it just as much as men.
Hashem doesn't see, Hashem doesn't.
Excuse me? Yeah. Now, when, and this is only, as we said, miyuchad for men. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu blew the Shama in however in the nostrils of man, of Adam HaRishon, that also could be a little bit of a downfall. And let me tell you this. A person will think that being superior to animals is guaranteed to him from his moment of his creation, and he has on his part do absolutely nothing to improve himself or to do anything to actually reach the second or third level or to actually elevate himself. I'm man, I'm superior. We need to understand that a person needs what we call yegiah ve'amal, to work hard, to reach a stage of perfection. However, he has a way to choose any given moment if he wants to do it or he doesn't want to do it. And that's why one of the reasons that when he created man, HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not say, Vayera Elohim ki tov. Why? Because we don't know. Tov yom hamavet miyom hivaldo. We don't know what's going to be with man. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said on everything in creation, Vayera Elohim ki tov. Yalla, ki tov, yofi. Man, we don't know what's going to be with him. It's going to be based on the way you choose. So if you think that you lost it last year, you missed a couple Shtayim Mikra Echad Targum, you didn't do Chazara, even for that, don't worry, you can start again. Don't think that because you were a Jew, you are like a Superman. You got to work very hard. And here again, don't say, okay, I'm a bad guy. I can tell you, bad boys do bad things. No, here's a chance. We told you, we wiped that all out for you. You can start fresh again. We could start fresh again. How liberating should be that Tfilat Arvit right after Yom Kippurim, we can maybe, that's the only time in the year that we can daven Nakim Mikol Avera. Still we are the Kedusha of Yom Kippur on us, with the Talit on us, and we need to understand that this time is time for hope. However, you could not go and continue with your routines that you started, and now that somebody told me it was so horrible, I almost smacked the guy. Just to make I was thinking about it. I was more at home during the month of Tishrei than I was at work. I think I can't take this anymore. I said, "But you nuts? Why are you rushing to go to work so much? What's wrong with you? In other words, you never left everything behind. You're carrying up the load from last year back with you this year. No wonder every year becomes heavier and heavier." So we stop with last year ended. It belongs in the archives. You could reach, you need to be able to choose. So you need to look at yourself this year, now, and say, what am I going to do this year to really formulate that little pleasure, a lot of meaning? What are the stages? What is going to be different with me this year than last year? Because if I'm not changing anything that I did last year, it's going to be the same. Only it's going to be worse because, last year, well, okay, so last year, but then again, It's like a child of abuse, or a person that suffer abuse. You know, the kids. The kid sneezes, the father smack him. Then the father sees a fly, goes like this. The kid hides. We develop anxiety, and we can't take it anymore. How are you going to continue like this? You really want to live? I mean, until 120 years old, like that? I said, no, Rabbi, no, please put me out of misery. I want to die young. What do you mean you don't want to die young? You have all life ahead of you. It's because you need to say, okay, that's what I did, and I'm going to do it different. And I'm going to ask you, how are you going to do it different? You're going to say, we're going to do this and this and this different. Because if not, it's the same thing over and over. You would be grinded to the point that you're going to get older than you should have, and you're going to, and so on and so forth, and unhappy, and then you're going to bring kids and you're going to make them unhappy. Why do you want to bring more kids to the world if you're unhappy? If you're unhappy, so guess what? Do something about it. Do something about it. Choose life. Celebrate life. If you don't like the field you're going into, so okay, so you spend few tens of thousands of dollars, in college. It's nothing compared with the rest of your life. Let's say you spend $60,000 to get some kind of a master's degree that you can do nothing with, or you just don't really like it. Is your life worth $60,000? Is the next 40, 50 years worth that? Just throw it away and start something new. But think about what you're doing. In other words, what I'm trying to tell you is you need to also develop a sense of responsibility towards your life. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. So remember, we need to look forward, and we need to create a spiral to elevate, to do our actions on better level this year than we did last year. To learn better. And Rabotai, there is not going to be meaning on your life unless you're going to know what are you doing and why are you doing what you're doing. Otherwise, you're like a robot. And you're not going to know why are you doing what you're doing unless, of course, you're going to learn. And don't shave your beards, Yosef. Hi, Yosef. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And you should really try to soak it in. And Baruch Hashem, we have Shabbat right around the corner. And I think it was very important for me to tell you those things right before Shabbat, so you can just take a break 1 second. We finished now with the Chagim. We're going to have this Shabbat Mevarchim HaChodesh. So we're still in Tishrei. Before we switch it into Cheshvan, make sure you think about what I just told you. And make sure you change it. Otherwise, it's going to be one boring ride. It's going to be a traffic jam. Rather than the highway. Drive into the horizon. Anybody want to join me on the ride? Shabbat Shalom.